everyone, this is Jelaila and welcome to the weekly messages. Today I'm going to continue the series on how to cope with the challenges of awakening. And today we're going to be talking about how to share your new beliefs with friends and family and when not to share. So, a couple 3 pointers. I sat down and wrote these down earlier today. Number 1 is that when don't just go and upchuck information on your family, even though you know that you care about them and you want to help free them from some of their limiting thoughts and beliefs. Even though your heart's in the right place, it may not come across as a very loving thing. People don't usually like to have someone try to convince them or convert them into new beliefs, especially when they have some very long-held and cherished beliefs in that area that are contradictory. So you're going to find them they will resist, and they might be a little resentful, and that will lead to them being antagonistic towards you down the line. Number 2, when you are asked information, qualify that request to make certain it's something that you want to answer. And for example, when my mother said to me one time in 1998, I went home to visit, and she says to me, and I got to do this in a true Southern accent because my mother is a Southerner. Do you believe that Jesus is your Savior? That's not a question to answer with a direct response of yes or no. And here's why. My mother was really looking for a way to try to convince me that I was wrong. That whatever I said, if it wasn't a yes, then it wasn't going to go over well with my mom. So I didn't answer her point blank. I just said, Mom, why does it really matter whether I believe Jesus is my Savior? I mean, I feel like I'm going to be okay, and, I know you believe that, and that's all right. I just want you to know I love you, and I'd really rather not talk about that. Now, people think that's evasive. Absolutely, it is evasive, because to answer it would not have been of any real value. It would have it would just have started an argument, because my mother would have scared my mother to find out I didn't believe that Jesus was my Savior, and she would not understand, and then I would have to try to explain, and then it would become into, not good. So so number 1, you don't have to answer it point blank if you know it's really not because they're interested in embracing a new belief, but more about getting you back into the old beliefs. You don't have to answer. Number 2, and then the third one is, if they ask you and they're genuinely interested, and you can find out by, if they say, well, what do you believe about, do you believe in aliens or whatever? You say, well, why do you ask? Not in a sarcastic manner, but, sincerely, why do you ask? Well, because, if they say something like, well, I've been looking into it to myself. Oh, really? In other words, don't give them information unless you are pretty certain that they are sincere in wanting to know. And then, this is the next thing, number 4, give them only what they ask. Don't give them any more. So, for example, if they said, well, do you believe in aliens? Well, why do you want to know? Well, because I've been looking into it. Oh, really? What have you been reading? And then they have to give you some books. They got to convince you. In other words, they have to work for it. They have to convince you that they are really sincere. And then you say, well, I think there's a good possibility that they exist. That's it. You don't have to say anything more. You don't have to go into races. You don't have to go into, read this or read that or do this or do that. Don't upchuck. Just, well, I think they might exist. I think there's a possibility. Leave it at that. In other words, if people, your family and friends want to know, they have to work for it, and you have to be convinced that they sincerely want to know. And then you only give them what they want, what they asked, and no more. And what that's going to do is that's going to show them that, number 1, you respect their right to believe what they want. Number 2, that you expect them to respect your right to believe what you want, because you're treating them with respect. And number 3, you're honoring where they are because you're not giving them anything more than they ask. So hopefully this will be helpful to you, and you can pass this on. And next week we will continue the series. I have no idea yet what I'm going to be talking about, but I'm sure I will figure it out between now and then. So you take care and have a great week. And if it's getting warm in your area, enjoy. It finally is here. Take care. Bye-bye.